Hi there, and welcome to the Empathic Superpower Summit. This is an online series where we inspire and support empath and highly sensitive people to reconnect with their sensitivity and use it as a superpower. Hi, friends. I am your host, Fleur Choi, and today I have the pleasure to be with Shane Kulman. Shane is the transformational guide. Her whole career has been a specialist in working with sensitive souls. As the founder of the Awkward Academy, she has helped hundreds of women and men to improve their self-worth from the inside out. She holds a master in special education and creative arts. She dances, and she brings her background as a behaviorist, dynamic embodiment, authentic relating, improvisation, acting technique, and her natural born magic into our workshop, talk, retreat, and performances. Hi, Shen, welcome.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm super excited to be able to talk with you today and, hopefully, get very juicy, information and a way that people can relate and feel, our stories and how being a sensitive can be really wonderful and be a very a shift and a transition in how you see life and how is life for you and this power that you have to lead your life from this trust and the fact that we are supported and we are on a path exactly where we are and where we should be.
Absolutely.
So can you just to get our viewer to get to know you better and tune into what is sensitivity and empathy for you. I would be curious to kind of tap in your story and what has been your journey as a sensitive.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that, we're speaking today. When you were speaking just now, I thought to myself, what I want your listeners to know is it, as hard as it also gets as joyful and as full. So it doesn't go away. You don't learn how to manage it and then you're just fine. There's more, there's deeper sobs, there's more darkness. But as dark as the dark is as light as the light is. And so I'll start my story there, which the most important thing I think is before I was born, my family are Holocaust survivors. And my parents were born in displaced persons camp, like my actual parents. And so they came to this country in America when they were 2. So to me, that describes the amount of darkness that is in my DNA, that is in the actions of the way my parents' mindset has them living. And, lots of death, lots of pain, lots of unlooked at darkness. And then I'm the first one born in this country, like a little pressure, but also I'm the light, I'm the one, like, you have freedom. You're born in this country. You have all the food you can eat. You have all the choices. Not that they knew this, but that's what I was born into. And I was born not just like, a picky eater, but I did not eat chicken. I did not eat turkey. I did not eat meat. And this is a family that's raising me that was in a Holocaust with no food, fear of being starved, losing brothers and sisters, family being killed. And here I am, a 2-year-old, and I'm like, not eating. So this contrast of me listening to myself at a very young age and then being so sensitive to see, like, there's problems that no one's working on here. And even at 3 years old, I remember hiding my dad's cigarettes. This will all make sense. I'm going to move through so it's not a therapy session. And just hiding his cigarettes and being like, that's not good, and trying to like save my family. And, if I bring in past lives, it's like I'm trying to save people. Um, and so just really getting clear that I'm on a mission. I'm a special child. I have a lot of sensitivities, even physically. I didn't like elastic in my underwear. I had to, and my bathing suits, all the elastic had to be cut out. I didn't like how hot dogs tasted. I had to have the ends cut off. Like I was extremely sensitive to my environment, sensitive to emotions. Um, I would be on my own a lot in kindergarten. And the one thing that my mother did share with me was like, my teachers thought there was something wrong with me. And she said, well, she's independent, and it's true. I didn't know this about myself, but I was just a non-contrarian. I didn't want to do anything the same. I was always in trouble in school. I was always sort of just doing things my own way and also desperately wanting to fit in. And those two things of being a people pleaser, but also being so alive inside and not knowing like, how's everybody else doing it? Like, how does everybody else just go to school? And I'm like watching people be bullied, be in pain, watching myself be bullied. Like, how do I operate? And how do I operate? And I just lived in a world of suffering basically till I was 32. I'm 44 now. So I've been on this awoke mission since that for the last 12 or 14 years. I was abusive to myself. I wanted a nose job at 16 and I got it. I tortured my family. I just wanted to be skinny and pretty and cool. And I wanted people to like me. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and women were fighting. So I just didn't want to get beat up. So I learned to cope by being cool. I learned to put on a face and to look beautiful. So my most insecure woman in me puts on a lot of makeup, tries to look beautiful, and tries to be cool. And now I do it because I have fun. But there's the theme that's been in my story the whole time is like victim or victorious. Like there are actual victims in my family. This isn't just a mindset. There are victims, like there are people who are killed. So how do I shift that? The big part of my story was I went to this improvisational acting class in New York City. And it wasn't about saying yes, it was about saying no. And I learned how to unpack the darkness. And one of the first times we did an exercise where my darkness came out, I got super triggered. I thought everybody was like on a mission to prove me wrong and to show me. And it was something body related. It was a script, an idea, a scene about a woman who was overeating donuts. I called The Donut Shop. And I thought they all came together to be like, Shane's fat. And so I stood up and I was like, F you and F you and F you. And I ran to the bathroom. And I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, I felt so betrayed. And when I came out and said F you to everybody, people were riveted. And I was like, why are you looking at me? Like, I was angry. And they're like, we've never seen like an F you so good before. And my whole thing was confused. I was like, I hide that. I don't want my Brooklyn crazy to come out. But when I did it and it was a stage and it was improv, it was outstanding. And so there was this thing that happened where I realized by the parts that I didn't want to bring out, having them be witnessed in a playful situation that's imaginary, I can be free. And so, first of all, after I was triggered, my teacher took care of me. We worked on it together. But what I realized was when I left that night, I had so much energy in my body. I was awake. I had ideas. I had concepts I thought about, and I was alive. And then for 2 years, I did nothing else. No social events, no dates, no friendships. I dropped a huge amount of friends and I just went to this class. I came out of hiding because I thought I was hiding all of that. I wasn't even doing it purposefully. I was just like, I'm cool. I'm beautiful. I want a husband. I want kids. That's what I want to do. Everything is fine. I'm fine. Are you fine? And meanwhile, I was so dark inside. And I built trust in this place. And I would go there now when I felt depressed. Other days, I would have just stayed in bed with the blanket on my head. I got myself to class. And there were such good boundaries there that I was free to speak. I was free to, and then it wasn't therapy. So I didn't have to say, like, here's my problems. I could play in a character, let's say a pregnant woman who was getting abused, who had 4 other kids and homeless. It's pretty dark. I could play that character, be in her darkness, but actually it was my own. So I was like sidestepping my ego. I know I'm saying a lot. And I was able to access these emotions that I was like closed off to.
I love this story. It's beautiful because like I really hear, you know, from you how all your life you've been standing to be your own person.
Yes.
But there is this part of us, and we all have that we want to be loved and belong so much that we've kind of like are willing to change and put this mask. And for you, the mask was the cosmetic. And I want to say like this aspect of like, this is to be a woman. It's to be pretty, right? But you had more to say. And I love, you know, improv. Like I was like a very shy kid, like very, you know, I didn't want to show myself. And so, you know, going and playing scene and actually like processing your own inner emotion that you don't know how to do it. You don't feel you have the right to do it. So you don't have the tools and you don't have the authorization. So you stuff everything in. That's why we're so under pressure inside. And so improv, theater, playing stuff, and very dark scene can actually be like very healing.
So I became a bully of improv. Anyone who became my friend or who was my friend, I was like, come to class, come to class. And people said no. And I thought, I'm like, I found the Mecca. You don't have to have those problems anymore. Come to class. And for about a year and a half, nobody came. And that added to my sadness because I'm here to save the world and yet nobody's coming. And then like maybe I forced some people to come and my teacher was like, Shane, I am surprised they didn't go running out the door. I saw them in sheer terror. And it was my most comfortable place to be because I'm like, if this stuff is not seen, it's here. I don't want these dark entities running the show anymore. So I saw the big relief and the big release, and I was sick of hanging out with people that didn't want to be in their own light. You know, my ego was like, I'm the coolest one here. This is great. So I got to a place where I'm cool, but nobody's there with me. This is boring. So then I go to class and I thought like, oh, this is the Mecca. And then for some reason, it was about 8 of us that stayed together for 2 years every week, every week, every week. And it was a friendship that I never had before, which is, oh, we're friends from inside. We're not friends because I like your hair or your earrings are pretty. These people, we knew each other intimately. Like we did scenes at cemeteries, we did scenes in hospital beds, in army grounds. Like it was powerful. And we'd seen each other sob and ugly. And I could not prove to anyone that I was foundationally messed up because they're like, we know you. You can't prove that. You can't prove a case that you're really a loser, that nobody can be, because we've seen your soul, we've seen your heart. Mm. So that old story had no room anymore. I couldn't defend my case study that I was really a loser.
Yeah, and that you find like a safe place to actually show your heart.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah. So how old were you at this time?
How old? I was 32 to, well, till recently, COVID, class stopped, but for religiously every week. And I mean, I'm in Brooklyn, and I had to go to the Upper West Side, and I was working with children with autism at the time. I love the children, but the methodologies were so off. And I would be driving to this class sleeping. Like, it was not safe for me to be driving. And I would get there and I would leave energy. And I was like, there's something here.
Yeah.
So that was the reason that I kept going. And I never stopped. And then this week, oh, maybe you know about it. I'm starting a new form of theater called Bouffon, which is French, has a French background.
Yeah.
And it's like based on dark theater, like the darkest of the dark, and bringing it to the stage. And it's hundreds of years old and it's classic. And I think the guy who brought it to the light is a very old Frenchman with red glasses and white hair. Like, I don't know, I'm excited. So it starts this week because that's where the healing happens, on the stage.
Yeah. And so like it's like a transformational process, right? That you're getting through. Like, I'm kind of like curious, like when you work with someone,
Yes.
and is it like some technique that you use,
Yeah.
like how does it integrate, like in what you do today with people?
I love your question. So I was coaching people, I was doing things, but then when I learned improv, I was like, this is how I'm going to work with people. So working with people and all their parts, right? So I have a very resistant inner teenager, and she knows it all. She's like, you're going to do that. I'm going to do this, whatever. Like, she wants to fight with people. She wants to be pretty. She wants everybody to shut up. And when I'm with a client, whether it's a group or one-on-one, I ask about all these parts, because the inner teenager, mostly she or he is very insecure, very afraid, hormonally a mess, and has been a child for so long and knows, hey, things aren't fair. And guess what? Adults pretend that it's fine. What is my role in this mess that we're in, especially now? What's my role? And a lot of times teenagers have a lot of fresh, new, beautiful ideas, but have not been encouraged, have not been trained on how to speak them. Yeah. And so they stay in this vulnerable box. So when I'm working with a client and I'm like, okay, let's play with the goddess, and they're like, nope, I don't want to. I'm like, well, what's happening there? What is your inner voice saying? And if I can get them to say, like, it's you, because I can be a provocateur where I'm asking these questions, they can throw all their stuff on me. And they're like, well, I don't want to wear red lipstick. I don't want to get dressed up. I'm not going to, and they have resistance and they want to quit. And I'm like, okay, I know it's not about me. So getting them very slowly to either notice the resistance and get curious. So we play different roles, like, who's talking now? I have one woman I love dearly. We're in a group session. Every time I call in her teenager shows up. Well, because I can't do anything anyway. I'm like, who's that? She's so wise. Sometimes she'll realize, that's the whole gift. That's what I give my clients, is like just the awareness of who's running the show. Your little kid, she running the show? That might be fun on a date. I don't want my teenager running my business. I don't want my teenager doing my videos because she's just, making sure she's pretty. And to know that there always is going to be a teenager. I don't want to shut her up. I don't want to push her away. I do want to look pretty, but I don't want her running the show. I want her sitting here peacefully being taken care of, so that the goddess, the divine feminine, who is the most resourced, who invites the inner child, who invites the sacred masculine, who invites the inner teenager, and all the parts, all the guardian, all the parts. She's like, here I am. I trust whatever is going to come through. And that's when people either, realize what my work is for them. That means they can't mess up. They can't get in trouble. They can just own the parts.
Yes. Yes. And I really love that, because like all of that, it's coming, like from like, all those blind spots that we don't see. And sometimes we get super triggered and the rebel teenager, let's say, is coming in, right? And he's like, fuck you, and you, and you know? And the fact that we get to recognize that and to, you know, really like connect with this side of ourselves, this is where there is the wisdom in the teenager and the fire in it, and that we start to use, you know, this aspect of ourselves, you know, for our highest good, instead of denying that it's actually here and being kind of like, you know, puppet mastered by it, and seeing that, you know, like there is no, you know, like other side of ourselves, and we all have, you know, like this child that need attention, and the teenager that is super insecure, and you know, but we also have like other wisdom, and we have a whole team.
We have a whole team. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And so when your client gets to, you know, like reconnect with those side of themselves and kind of like empathize with, you know, like we're all having, it can be messy, you know, like, I mean, like we don't have to, life is messy, life is, you know, like there is this facade and those masks that we love to put, and there is like social consideration and all of that, you know, but behind the scene, recognize that all of that is a mask, and we can like, it's not us.
Right. It's not the whole of us.
Yeah.
And I always say life is messy. Like, it's so uncomfortable, you know, and I was in it this morning in my therapist office, and I resisted therapy. I'm like, I know everything, la, la, la. But I went in and I'm like, listen, my parts need to talk. So I came in with total control. I was like, my child is here, my teenager. And I did this whole little process, and she's great. And before I left, I was curled up on the couch with this mask, mucus coming out, crying. I'm like, oh, that was good. Like, it's so rare that I allow that mess out. And I'm like, okay, great. Now I know where I'm leading my people to. So, just to sort of add on, I'm doing the mess. If I wasn't doing the mess, I can't lead a mess, So my mess is like the opening gates for whoever has chosen me to be their leader or their guide. And that's why I've created this world that's so smart. And for all the sensitive, empathic people, my course, I have a course, it's a business course, visibility and confidence. So I've created this because I will hide. If it's easy, I will avoid. I haven't changed, but I just have more people. I have a lot of people that are paying me to take care of them in this special way. So I have created this accountability for myself so I cannot go back into hiding. So it's empaths and sensitive people that are perfect business owners, because all of our shadow, all of our stuff, all of our mess is going to come up in a business. And it's the smartest way to not stop the work. At some point, you will be guided by the divine to keep going. I don't really want to get married with having kids. It's not my dream. That's not my goal. And so I was tricked into it from programming. So if I did, if an empath sensitive being wants something, it's really important to make sure it's what they really want. And when you own a business or you're leading other people, it's the most efficient, most messy way to get to the truth.
Yeah, I always say that, like, businesses, like, it's kind of like a catalyst.
Yes.
Like, it's a catalyst in your growth, and your business is a reflection of you.
Totally.
Your clients are a reflection of you. So it's very interesting as an entrepreneur and a sensitive. And I really think that the entrepreneurial is very good for sensitive, because it's actually kick their butts to kind of like step out of the box, and own their voice and be, okay, this is me, and calling their tribe. because there is also this aspect of connection. And as a sensitive, we are longing for connection.
Yeah.
And that's why we've been like pretending for so long as we are growing up and having, you know, like the child learning, you know, to conform and perform and just to be loved. Just to be loved.
loved. I mean, and it's, you know, it's in all of our nursery rhymes and all of our toys as children. There's a nursery rhyme in the US, maybe it's everywhere, and it's like sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what little girls are made of. There's a very clear definition. Do not be messy. Put on your bow and your pretty shoes and go have fun. It's so crazy. Just get chills, you know, but it's very clear messaging, you know,
Yes.
cover your gray hair, like all this messaging, and it's being repeated still. So I want everybody listening to know you're not alone. And this isn't just in your family or in your school. This is a worldwide. And in Europe, I do have to say it's not as harsh as in America. Like I feel here, there's a lot of emasculating men and a lot of women who are working to be men in their production. You know, my story is in Europe, women are more feminine and there's more time, yeah, to like eat slow and be luxurious, you know.
Oh, that's cute.
And then it's like my parents are from Germany originally. I'm like, maybe not there, maybe just in certain parts of France. I don't know. I have these, you know, but the stories are, they contribute, right? So even that story that I just shared creates some kind of jealousy, like, oh, I wish I were European, or I'm not dating any American men. Like, so we make these statements and we perpetuate this stuff. And then I birth my business, but some people birth children and repeat these really wicked tales that are somebody's truth, but not like the truth.
Yeah, and also, you know, like the old programming that come, you know, like your family as Holocaust survivor. I mean, like the story of your bloodline, like shape you even before you're born.
Totally.
And so like there is like this like narrative that very early in age you get to understand.
Yep.
From a perspective that like, oh, okay, I need to go there to get attention, to get love, you know, like all those good things that feel good. And it kind of like shape us along the way. And we have all the wisdom, especially as a kids, you know, we're so in tune with who we are, but we forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, as kids, I tend to believe that everybody's sensitive, you know. I can't, yeah, I think everybody is. And then certain people turn it off because it's really uncomfortable. And there's a lot of childhood trauma that, like, who wants to deal with that? You know, so so the coping you had brought up earlier is like numb, eat, spend money, focus on something else. And I fall into that trap. I love shopping. I've been buying a lot of things lately and I'm aware. So I need these things. A lot of them are vitamins and acupuncture, like they're good things.
Yeah.
But just to be aware, like, what am I not wanting to feel right now? And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not resourced right now. So I can sit down and order something. I can sit down with my food instead of sitting there eating it or ordering while I'm in bed. I can really add some slowness to it so that these old stories of like, oh, I'm so impulsive, then I don't get to enjoy what I'm doing. So it's important to realize I'm coping now.
Yes.
So I'm doing the best I can instead of being like, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to eat pizza anymore. That's a coping food. And then not eat pizza, not eat, and then eat a whole pie because you've been taking it away. So it's really to own whatever it is. Yep, I'm avoiding right now. That's what I'm doing. And own that part. So we're not skipping over. We're not denying it, but it's like, hey man, I'm really messed up. I'm avoiding having a conversation with you, but I'm texting you because I want to let you know. It's just
yeah,
like,
there is like a lot of coping that we all have, and it's being showing up in you know, like this automatic program. that are here to somehow preserve us and
Yes.
keep us functional. So there is like, like a lot of very functional people in this world
Yeah.
that are actually under active numbing or disconnection of themselves. And you can use many substitutes from chocolate, drug, shopping, sex, any pleasure. And like I'm a sensitive, I have an addictive personality, like pleasure of life, I'm like, that's why I'm here.
Yes.
Right?
Hmm.
It's just like so good, because when we feel deeply, and we talk about the bad stuff a lot with sensitive and intuitive, but there is also the good stuff.
Yes. Ooh, I
And
just got chills. Yes.
to feel it deeply. And so, since I've been like, like interviewing people into this summit and get more and more information, I get like this vision of about like this concert that I've been when I was a teenager, and I got like those chills to see this performance and feel this person on stage and feel the people around me. And now I can like put, like I could only feel, I was not able to express it with words because it was feeling so deeply and so beautiful.
Yeah.
But now I associate that with my sensitivity and the beauty that there is in being sensitive.
There is nothing more beautiful, like even right now, being in connection with someone else who understands their depth.
Yeah.
It's like anything's allowed. And it's cool because I've worked with teenagers, I've worked with little kids. The first thing I love doing, it's like when I can make poop jokes or something that's like bathroom humor and the other people find it funny. It's like, oh, like our little inner children want to play together. We don't want to be polite. We don't
Yeah.
want to be social niceties because that is so exhausting.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
most people don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And we need to express it. We need to express those parts of ourselves. They need to be, like seen. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I still reconnect, and it's like a long life journey of reconnecting to all those parts. It's never ending story. And there is layers and layers and layers to it. Um, yeah, like I love our conversation, and I feel we could talk forever.
I know. I was thinking that. I'm like, I wish we could be in class together. That would be so fun.
Yeah, yeah. And so like I usually, like wrap it up and ask the speaker if like there is like anything else that, like a message that is very deep to your heart that you would like to share with the viewers.
Yeah. I said it yesterday, and it's really important. Rest. Really rest. Like, like rest your body, rest your mind, invest in an eye pillow. It's not going to feel like rest the first 5 times. You're going to want to jump up and do something, but program it in your calendar. Rest for 5 minutes, rest for 10 minutes. Don't call it a nap. Don't call it this or that. Just let your body rest.
Yeah, like take care of your nervous system.
Yeah.
It's sensitive.
It's sensitive and it cares deeply. And there's a lot to care about these days. And there's a lot of like people screaming for help and attention. And it's okay for you to rest and stop helping for a moment and just rest.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shane. We're gonna talk about like this beautiful free gift that you are giving today to our viewer. And
Yeah.
it's all about connection to a part of ourselves. So
Yeah.
tell us more about it.
I'm so excited. It's I'm excited about it because there's a lot of work being offered in the world. But if your inner child is not on board, he or she is not going to let you take that information in. They're going to throw up the resistance, even if you paid $1 million or it's the most beautiful program in the world. So my gift is, it's like it comes with a worksheet and an audio, and it's inner child. And it's a way, and you can use it again and again and again and again. And it's a broad inner child. So you get to decide who wants to talk right now, my inner teen, my child. And it's really important to get to know these voices and really important to learn how to work with them. So it's a process. And I like to do everything efficiently. So the whole thing could take 20 minutes, and then you'll start to be able to do it on your own. So it's a worksheet and an audio, and I love giving it. Feels like I am saving the world with this, even if nobody works with me one-on-one, it's like, this is my push out that I get to save everybody if it's a good fit. I can't help people who are not saying me.
Right. And I think, like it's what's the summit intention, like behind all of that, there is, like people getting inspired, hopefully, and taking action into their own inner work and get empowered and, like start to being of service of people. But like it has to, like the work starts within.
Yes.
And after we shine it out.
I love that you said that, because summits are extremely inspiring. You are extremely inspiring. You're such a great listener. And I know that everyone's going to feel amazing. And I've been in retreats and summits 3 days, 4 days later. I'm like, I guess I messed it up. But if you can find a way to stay connected, use all the things that everybody's giving out, like put it in your calendar. And even when you're like, I don't want to do it, it's not going to work, do it anyway, because that voice is your teenager that thinks he or she's going to fail. Bring them, drag them. It's okay. You're the parent of that part.
Yeah. And what if, right? What if?
What if that's your miracle story? And then you're interviewed in a summit, so it keeps going.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shane. I'm so glad we got to connect together. And, thank you to our viewers. And please have like a little button here around the video to get the free gift. So click on it and get into like Shane's work and get more in tune with yourself and all those all this team of you. So thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow for another interview. And I'm sending you my love. You take care. Bye.